What's good, YouTube? So today I'm going to be showing you how I do my back tuck. So the back tuck is a really basic move, and it's actually really easy to do. To make it a little bit simpler, we're going to break down the actual skill into 3 basic parts. The takeoff, which is the beginning, the rotation, so the middle, and then the landing, which is the end, obviously. So if you're still learning the back tuck, I do have a tips and tricks video that is always released with my tutorials. For every tutorial, there should be a tips and tricks video where I go over a bunch of different drills you can do for the back tuck and how I actually use them to learn my back tuck and make it how it looks now. So make sure you go check out that video. The link is down in the description down below. And as always, if you have any questions after the video, make sure you drop them in the comments. Follow me on Instagram at willcanfly or at Acrowill, and I will do my best to get back to you guys. So with the beginning of the back tuck, how you start with your arms doesn't really matter. I start with my arms up by my side just because it opens up my chest and it keeps it nice and aligned and everything nice and tight. You can start how you want to, but the most important thing is that you're comfortable with it. The next part of the back tuck going to the beginning is actually swinging and jumping. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have your arm swing synced up with your jump. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that you're not jumping like this, or you're not jumping like that, or you're not doing any other weird kind of takeoff. Your takeoff for the back tuck should be just like this, swinging your arms up to your ears as you jump. You really want your head to be in line with your shoulders, which is another reason why I start with my arms up through here. But like I said, you can start with your arms however like you want to. It's really preference. So the next part of the back tuck, the squat going into this is another really important part of the setup at the beginning. You don't want to squat too much further than this right here. This is about as low as you want to go going into the tuck. The reason for this being, you still have to stand all the way back up and then jump. There's a really big difference between standing up and jumping into the skill. You can do a back tuck where you go like this and then pull off the floor, kind of like this. And yeah, you can flip, and yeah, you can make it over, because obviously I just did. It's a lot easier if you get your maximum jump. And a lot of times, if you squat lower than here, you're going to take off the ground like this, because you're gonna think that you've stood up all the way, when in reality you haven't, unless you've done the proper drilling and stuff that you need to do in order to feel what that feels like. So try to make it a habit when you're first learning the back tuck to not squat further than here, and to put the weight into your toes and jump through your toes. Practice this a couple times, with your arms however you want. Dip and jump in order to get that feeling in the skill, because that's really important. If you can do that beginning, you've already done the hardest part really of the back tuck. Well, the second hardest part of the back tuck. And another thing in that takeoff, you really want to make sure that you have the weight in your toes. When doing tumbling, your toes are like 99% of the time what you're going to be pushing through, if not 100% of the time, is what you're going to be pushing through the skill in order to get that lift. It takes a lot less energy to do this and push through your toes than it does to do a full squat and jump all the way off the ground. And that's a lot harder to do. And especially if you're learning the skill, you want to make it as easy on yourself as possible to do it. Now, getting into the hard part of the back tuck, the rotation, or how to flip over, this is a little bit more intricate, and I break it down a lot further in my tips and tricks video. So like I said, make sure you give that a look before actually trying the back tuck if you're trying to learn from scratch. Because the rotation, you've got to know how to bring your feet over your head. So I'm going to kind of just tell you how to do that here, and how to apply that to your back tuck I'm going to go over more in the tips and tricks video. So like I said, again, for the third time, make sure you check that out if you're really trying to get a good back tuck and understand how to rotate over. It's really important that you know and learn how to do that. And I have a bunch of drills you can do to do that. But basically, your rotation and your tuck all come from your abs. It all comes from your stomach, and anything you do backwards that really flips over backwards, that rotation is generated through your lower body. Your abs are what pull your feet up. Your abs are what stay tight going through the skill, and they're what really get that tight rotation. A lot of the times when learning the back tuck, people think your arms come up and pull your feet through, and that's just not the case. In fact, when I do my back tuck, you can see from the front here, I don't even grab. So I'm here, up, and around. Now my arms do go in just to keep them tight and in closer to my body, but they don't have to pull. Now, if you're gonna do more of an over tuck, your arms, I would say better to grab your shins. And for those of you not familiar what an overtuck looks like, that's where you go, I'll do it from the side here, where you go up in the back tuck like that, and grab your shins. In which case it makes more sense if you're standing up to here and not rotating those arms to get those shins to the top of your hands, and that's the first place they are, so it makes more sense to tuck there. However, I find it more effective for your arms to come up and circle around underneath rather than come on top. But that's just my opinion. So getting onto that rotation again, as you are coming off the ground, as you're jumping to here, it's important that you're kind of pushing up and out. Now this is another thing that really you kind of want to work on as you get better. Doing a back tuck in one spot is great and all, and you don't want your back tuck to travel like 20 feet backwards, because that's not good. You're losing a lot of power if you're doing that, if you're seriously trying to learn the back tuck. But it's a lot harder when you're learning this skill to get your toes up, which generate your rotation, if you stand up to here, than it is if you stand up and out a little bit. Now your chest and head should still be up, but you really want to try to hit an angle like this, coming off the ground, so you can get your feet up in front of you faster. And that brings me on to the point of rotation. You want to get, when you jump off the ground, your feet up off the ground as fast as you can. So watch my back tuck here. As I set off the ground and I stand up through here, my toes come up and pull me through. Now that one may not have been as obvious since I was talking through it, but my lower body, my toes are what drive me up. When doing backwards tumbling, it's called a toe drive, and that's what flips you over going through the skill. Like I said before, your lower body is what flips you over, not your head and chest. So as you're coming off the ground, you're pushing back to an angle right here. You're going to use your lower stomach, so your lower abs, to pull your feet up. Now, as you pull your feet up, you want to make sure you maintain this position right here. It's really important that your feet, specifically your heels, don't drop behind your butt. You'll feel that actually break your back line. So when you do your tuck, you want to try to maintain a circle all the way through. And if you feel this arch going through the beginning, it's going to break your rotation. And that's going to make your rotation a lot slower than if you pull your actual toes up to your chest quicker. Now, getting around to the middle of the rotation, as you stand up, you've pulled your feet through here, you've maintained the circle through your lower back. From there, your arms, as you stand up to here, as you stand up and pull your feet up, are gonna rotate around and underneath. When doing the back tuck, your arms and your feet are gonna be doing the same things at opposite points. So for example, you stand up, you're jumping, your arms are up here, fully extended, your legs are off the ground, fully extended. Your legs are rotating up, your arms are rotating around, just like that. That generates a lot of momentum going backwards and generates a lot of momentum for the tuck, which makes it a lot easier to pull around. Now, as you're going through the middle of the tuck, your arms and chest are up, your arms are dropping around, your feet are coming over, you've hit your maximum peak, then you can start tilting back and looking for the floor. You want to make sure you're not looking for the floor too early, and what I mean by that is don't throw your head back in the beginning of the skill like this, because that's not productive to other skills. So you can do it like that, but when you move on to skills like layouts and fulls, it's a lot harder to learn how to spin and stay tight if your head's out. Plus you can damage your neck and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you don't want to use your head to rotate you. That's a good way to get whiplash. You want to make sure your head is neutral with your chest and that you're not looking for the floor until your body is rotating over like this. So I'm here, I'm standing up, spot, look for the floor as I'm coming over. And I know that one didn't rotate as well, but I was talking through the middle of it and not really focusing on it, so cut me some slack. But as you spot the ground, come into the last part of the tuck, so the ending, which is the end of the rotation, you're not going to release your rotation until you've spotted the floor. And even then, you want to make sure you pull your feet through. And what I mean by that is, if you're doing your back tuck and you're landing down here like this on your hands and knees, you're not finishing the skill. So you're not actually finishing that rotation. So you just want to make sure that you're pulling that all the way through after you spot the ground. So as you see the floor, toes through, let out, hit the floor, stand up, salute. So to recap real quick, the things you want to make sure you're doing in your back tuck: pushing off your toes all the way through in the beginning, getting a full extension with your arms and chest up. You want to be pushing back at about an angle right here. I think this is 45 degrees, about a 45-degree angle pushing off the ground. So like this. use your lower body, use your lower abs to pull your feet over. Maintain this position here going through. As soon as you hit full extension, your arms circle around for an under-tuck as you drive your toes over and look for the floor. As you've spotted the floor, you're going to release and keep pulling your feet underneath you so you don't under-rotate the tuck, and then you land. So like I said, there's a lot more that goes into the actual back tuck, and I break down how to apply the rotation and how to learn how to jump off your feet all the way and everything in my tips and tricks video. Make sure you check out that video before you attempt to do anything with what I've told you here. It'll make a lot more sense. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, make sure to drop a comment down below. If you have any ideas for tutorials or anything you want to see me do, feel free to drop an idea down as well. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Until then, I'm out.